So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of enjoy playing with some of the colors. So I'm thinking that my lighter colors might be kind of in this area, and I've got some light colors up here. I'm just putting in a bunch of shapes. I'm not really worrying about it. I'm going to pull out a lot of color. Okay, he's got some real nice light colors here. In fact, I might even put some of this purple in there to give me some really nice light colors. I've got some darker colors, and I want to put some of the, I kind of want to mingle all of the colors a little together. I don't want to end up with just one color. So I'm just playing here. And you're seeing that it's just kind of all going everywhere, but that's okay because I'm going to pull the color back off later. So I've got some real light up there. It's going out from my lines. That's okay. That's okay. Let me put some more purple in here. Let me see how that goes. Let me give more purple in his ear. So I am just playing with the darks and the lights. I think the blue needs to be more under there. And I'm just, and he's got some real darks coming this way. I'm not super worried about anything in the moment because I'm going to kind of let this all become. I know it looks like a mess, doesn't it? You're going, this is such a mess.
You have confidence in you.
Yeah, sometimes I have confidence, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go, why didn't I try this somewhere else prior to doing this in front of all of these people that are going to tease me about it for the rest of my life? But they're fun colors, right? Mm-hmm. And I want some really dark. I'm probably going to end up with a black on his nosy things here, but we're going to put some nose in there and some stuff in here. And remember I said I'm going to probably use a little bit of the yellow because that'll give me a black, and that's just the beginning. And then I'm going to go kind of in here. How are my colors going? I want more blue in here. I want more in here. I'm finding I want more light in there. So the first thing I'm going to have to do after I do this is try to figure out how in the H am I going to get those corkscrews working? Because that is the focus, is all of his, do you see all the kind of corkscrews that happen here? So I can try doing it just kind of like this. See how that kind of actually works a little bit.
And that's a reasonably dry brush.
Yes, it's a reasonably dry brush. And then I can start kind of coming down here.
Is there a special kind of sheep?
It's a very curly-haired sheep.
There must be a name.
Yeah, and when you're trying to do stuff like this, what you're really trying to do is follow whatever this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of exploring in the moment. I think those need to be a bit darker. So I could actually explore a bit darker in here with some darkness. I love this thing that goes around his eye here, and just kind of explore. This is very much darker. So I can work on getting this guy really much, much darker under his thing. And he has a little curly cues, but not much. But since I've put all of the other colors in there, it shouldn't just be kind of like one color. I get more curly cue stuff happening. I might want to start getting some lighter curly cue stuff. I don't know how this is going to work. I might want to try get his face first before I get too terribly involved with all of this. So I can use a little bit like of black. I've got his eye here, right? And he's got this, whatever it is, coming over here. And he's got some real dark in here. So trying to kind of identify his face is a good idea. And then looking for my here, and to try to clean out other places would be a, so here I can just clean out back a little bit around his eye. I want to clean out a little bit here too, but why isn't this participating? I may need to re-up it a little bit. And what color do I want his little face to be? Because the first thing I've really got to do is get his face.
Yeah, that lavender looks pretty good.
Yeah, that lavender does look good. I was there. There it is there. So I'm thinking that the lavender might really work for his face. And I can kind of come in here and pull it in and out, and then get my design going here. He's got, you see, you have to see the, it's coming in like this, and it's coming in like this. So once you start getting, and then I'm gonna probably work on, I should tape these together, shouldn't I? I tell you to tape them together, and then I don't. We're gonna put that right. See, I've got it not working. There, where's my tape?
Here's some.
It's under your paper towel.
Oh, see, I reached in the right place, right? I'm just gonna tape it right here, since I'm not gonna worry about that. Okay, so I can keep on going back and forth with a variety of tools to start getting this working. As I said, face kind of first. Some of this I want to take off. Some of it's more in a shadow, so I want it kind of to shade in. This here is nicely, I want more shadow in. This here, I'm just going to kind of, I'm giving it some, like there's lights and there's darks, and then I've got a really nice dark shadow here, which I kind of like, and this is the right value, and I need to get some lavendery something. I do like the Curley a lot, and so I need some of this coming down. See, I have a shadow coming down from here, and he comes in, and I have shadow, and I have things working this way from his nose, and it comes like that. So I'll fiddle back and forth until I can get his face looking. He's got a jaw here, he's got a jaw here. This comes down a little farther, and then this is very roundy. We're gonna put this back here. So I'm gonna fiddle back and forth until he starts to emerge. And hopefully he will emerge and I won't look like a fool. Again, thinking of the direction of what everything is moving helps. Having the more than one color kind of helps. And working on getting really soft would help. Where's my, here. And working here, getting really soft would help. If you put in too much, that's fine, because you can always take off. It's harder to put back in. You know, it really is harder to put back in, but then you can get some of these definitions just by also putting stuff back in. So like right here, I think I have a lot of light curly cues, so I might work on curly cueing some here. And I'm not going to make as many small ones as it would drive me crazy to make them as small as they are. So what I'll do is I'll make them more, kind of more, they're bigger and they're rounder, you know, and they just don't, they're not quite as crazy. And then I will start looking, again, go back to my details and try to see if I can get this guy to start emerging. So here I've got this, I'm going with this really dark. Okay. What is that? Oh, it's somebody's phone. Mm-hmm. Okay. I thought it was a foghorn.
Right.
I'm like, really? That sounds like a foghorn. So I've got this guy emerging here, and I can see that I have really messed up my guy here, but I can make that go away. He'll just pull. The beauty of using this is that I can fill it back up because obviously it does not have enough blending solution in it, huh? Because it was not wet. Now it probably has too much blending solution in it. Yep. So now I got a little carried away, but hey, that's fine. So now I can pull this off. Stop. Don't laugh at me. I feel like, I sometimes feel like it's just not working perfectly, but that's okay. Pulling this off, getting him off. There I go, I've got my little thing. So we're starting to get his personality. There's another little eye right over, way over here by his ear, and he's got the big thing here, and then his eyes right over here. So it's hard to kind of even see that eye. I imagine he doesn't see very well at all, or she doesn't see very well at all. But we're going to put that in there and then realize that it gets really dark in places here too. So now you can start seeing his face. Once you start seeing his face, it becomes a little easier for you to kind of play around with the colors and try to figure out what you want to do to kind of bring out his face. And then again, going back through, and because alcohol inks will do this, I can pull in, make all of these little curly cues, which is why I thought this would be a perfect alcohol ink thing. And as you see, all of my little curly cues are not necessarily the same color. I've got purples and I've got yellows and I've got whatever. Now this guy has a very bright, this area right here is actually very light. You can see he's got a lot of light in here because he's got a lot of light on his head. So I can keep on working to get slightly tinted in here, but not real crazy. And then we'll work on getting more of these curly cues. What do you think? Is his face? I stare at it so much that I don't know whether it's working. Because, but I want a little bit of more dark in places in here, and then I've got some dark in this area here. It gets pretty dark, but then he's got these lovely curly cues coming off in different colors. I just didn't want to make them into a really So I will keep on working back and forth, working at getting identifying with, you see how I'm identifying with the values. And then, but that's when you want to put way different colors. You're not trying to match it. You're just trying to get the values to work. And then, huh?
What was that cool pearl? Perry.
Cool Perry.
Perry.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, the
okay.
Cool Perry. I love the Cool Perry. This is,
Come back here.
No, that's okay, I'm good.
you can also, one of the advantages here too is that you can also, like here, remember I did it and my little curls fell apart? Well, I'm making my little curls come back a little bit more over here. So I still need to get some light in places too, so I can pull out for light. So this I can pull out. I can also work with our little blending pen too, to work with the directional on this directional stuff. So we can put the color in and then work our directional magic with it a little bit. Our curly cue's nice, but then we're like, I don't want to mess it up. So what if instead of that, you can put some of your shadows right on the back so that you can then you'll have shadowed area here, but you're not messing up your curly cues. So here now, his shadows are on the back. So I'm going to be putting the background on the back too, because I'm working on my dude, but I'm going to want to put some kind of background back there. And
So if you wanted to darken a little bit more under his chin, you could do it on the back.
yes, so if I want to take this and I want to put just a little bit of a shadow, as you say, under the chin. Right here, there should be a little more of a shadow. I can do it on the back, and there it comes through. So this is the Dura-Lar, this is like, to me, is like the cat's meow. I love not having to worry about what I'm doing on the front all the time. I can work on getting my stuff, like I'll probably end up putting more of these shadows in, and especially like this one here, you know, putting those shadows in the back so that they will end up looking more, everything will look more realistic.
Dimensional.
Yeah, but it gives you dimension, yeah. It gives you your shadows. I just want to get like more colors. I think I'm going to put more colors down in this area. And then I have cleaning up to do. See, when you put the colors in, they move in places you don't want them to be. So there's also the cleanup. But the other beauty of this Dura-Lar paper is that it cleans up perfectly. I mean, it cleaned back up to white. And then I can take whatever I want. And if I want to get, like, I love how they're the very curly cues. I probably will end up with one of these for the very edge. And I'm going to, because you see they're coming out like this. And I may end up with, more fuzzy, pulling out color, just getting this all looking kind of curly cuey. But I can also pull out a little bit if I want to make them look a little more fuzzy. Remember that line will go away. So the line is just for our reference, because what we don't want is we don't want to try to figure out what we're going to do with a pencil line or a black line, or even if, like I used to do with the yellow marker, it's still what I'd have green tinge to everything. So, and it's back and forth and back and forth. It's much lighter over in this area. So I'm just going to keep on playing with it and see how it's going to go. And I think I will probably put the majority of the big shadows on the front of the, or on the back of the paper, because I think that that actually works the best in this process, right? I think it just works. Like I've got a little bit too much here, but see, I can pull a little bit of this off and get him to work. I want to get my, I want to get a little more clear here to bring his face out. And you can, just keep on working until you'll get the personality will start coming through. And this might not be, my personality might look different than his personality, but that's okay.
Because you're in charge.
Right, because I'm in charge, and it could be different things. Like I really think he needs a little more softness in this area. Right there, maybe just a little more. So it's not a quick process. Oh, see how that rounded that nose out really nicely there? And it's a lot of exploration. We don't know exactly what is going to work. One of the things that we're doing with alcohol ink seems to be that we're exploring. They have such unique features that what happens is you'll find that something, oh wow, this blooming like this or this going like that really works. So we kind of just keep on.
So I've sped this up for you while I'm doing all of these little curly cues. What I'm using is a very damp, fine brush, and basically I'm just making a lot of little swirls in a downward, I'm making the curly cues. So I just pull the color through and kind of do loop-de-loop-de-loop all the time. And I'll just keep work back and forth until I'm happy with what they look like. The brush is just damp. It's not really heavy with color. And I will keep on adjusting the colors as I go. I decided I didn't like that shadow. I flipped it over and took that shadow away, and I'm just going to keep on working. Very intuitive, very, I don't know, I have fun doing this. And it takes time, but you can kind of just find your way through it.
So let's work on this eye. And let's see what if I put a little bit of a light purple color in here. I think that might work a little better. What do you think? Light purple might? There I go. And somewhere along here, I've got to get his swirlies better, but he just needs more swirlies in there. But then I keep on losing the eye itself. It's like the eye just, there's an eye, but then there's a little bit of a real dark shadow up here.
Yeah, it went away again.
I know, it keeps on going away. Not quite sure what tool I need.
A permanent marker.
Yeah, right in front of you. See, you've taken it away from me. So here I go. Okay, so this is the dark in the eye, right? And then it comes like this, and we've got the eye itself here, and then there's a really dark in here. Oh, there I go.
Yeah, there you got it.
There I got it, and I got it a little here, there, right. And then it is really still real dark up here, but then in here it kind of gets a little fadey, okay? And then here, it's way over here that it starts, and it's like up in here, but you don't see any of it really. You get to see a little, a little tiny bit of it here. And
That is fun. Good night, y'all.
good night, enjoy.
Okay, we'll see you at 8 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, and I'm bringing that, so I think the eye really helped.
Yes, that did.
That did, it just finally kind of alleviated the whatever, and I think I need some more texture in his ear here, and I need more
And doesn't this
squirrely.
go a little farther out than you've got it?
I think it might, but this guy comes out farther?
Just the dark.
Oh, the dark. I see what you mean. Yeah, maybe the dark does come out. What color am I using for the dark here? So I've got this extra, I put a little extra black in there to darken it. And then maybe I want to bring up,
Yeah.
and I want to put a little bit of stuff in there. And then it kind of comes down like this. And then he has curly cues again, so I've got to get his curly cues working, I think, is what the issue is. So I've got to get some more of these curly cues working in here, because this stuff kind of does the curly cue stuff. And again, I have to watch it with the curly cues because they don't, making too much of them doesn't really work.
Right.
So I just have to kind of give the definition of some curly cues. But like right here, it's really dark in there. I need to get back into some really dark, and I'm not sure whether the purple is just giving me because see, I've got some real darks way back in here, right, in a curly cue. And then I've got some real darks in here, and I've got some darks above, like right here above the eye, and I've got some darks coming in. So the darks kind of curly cue a little bit, or look like they might be curly cueing a little bit too. Like there's one up right by his eye, and it comes on down. So I'm going to keep on. And he's got some curly cues going right through the eye, which is part of what the issue is. He's got dreaded dreads. But I think that looks better. I need one that's coming all the way down here though, and it's a dark one. And I need a couple more of these really dark ones around. And then there's some dark ones on this side, so let's do some dark ones on this side. And we're gonna make some more curly cues there. So maybe I've gotta also figure out what I'm doing with his, around him, what I'm going to,
Yeah.
because
The background.
his background's got to be something, and I think I'm gonna put the background on the back. I think I'm gonna flip it over and see what I'm gonna do with the background. But still, I wanna also maybe put a little bit of the shadows on the back, because there's a shadow there.
There's a big shadow under his chin.
Yeah, I think I got the big shadow under the chin there.
Yeah,
But there's a shadow right here coming out from his eye that kind of just goes like this, but it's really just a shadow. So when I do that,
Oh, yeah.
that makes a bit of
And
a,
there's really kind of another one on the other
right,
side.
there's one on the other side that I think that comes down from his eye and then comes like this and comes down. And then there's actually a little one from the eye that comes out, and then there's one that comes around. Almost looks like he's got this little shadow in here and a little shadow in here. So now,
Oh, yeah.
it helps give me his face,
Yeah.
right?
Very much so.
And I need, this got to go away. I don't like that there. It was just too much there, because I think that's his, I don't know what that is. I think that's his eye there.
Yes, it is.
But so I think I got my eye up a little too high. I think my eye needs to be right at the edge. Well, no, I don't. Maybe just a little too high. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Right, and then he gets a thing right through it, so
Yeah,
we're gonna
right.
not worry about it. And it's got another little, little bit here, and we got this gonna come around with a little more shadow in here, and there's a lot of shadow in here. Okay, so now, and this shadow kind of works there, and there's a little bit of a shadow there, so I'm gonna work on this one and just pull a little bit, like he's got a face in here and a little bit of a face in here, and maybe even come up a little bit on there. So how are we doing now? I think that's much better.
I do too.
And now I have to figure out what
So
I'm
I've
doing.
decided that I am going to use some butterscotch and some moss for my background. And as you can see, I'm just loosely laying it in. And I was trying to get the straw look, so what I did is I used a piece of saran wrap to kind of give it some texture. So as I put it in wet, I use the saran wrap, and it just gives it a little bit of texture. I check back and forth and back and forth. And then I started to do the final details of the curly cues. I wanted to make sure that once I got the background in, I had the right values working, and I was just fixing a bit of the curly cues. And what I noticed was that I just kept on checking it with the mat and seeing how the values were working. Is it working for me? What do I need to do where? Just making final detail changes. And what I'll eventually do is work on getting some more lights very up at the top. And here I'm cleaning out around him so that there actually is just a little bit of light showing in places. There's some light above his ear. There's some light just showing right around where his fur or his pelt or whatever it is comes out. And again, working back and forth and back and forth. I decided I needed to darken the area around that one ear in order to pull out, let you really see the light area around that ear. And I just keep on working. And I'm thinking that this is just about done. Here I am adding my final details with a marker and maybe a gel pen. This one I'm cleaning up the back, signing it, and calling it done.